This episode of Legacy Curious is brought to you by Legacy Protectors. Customize insurance strategies for business owners and families who aspire to create a lasting legacy. Hello there, and welcome to Legacy Curious, the show where we explore what it really means to protect, grow, and pass on everything you've worked so hard to build. I'm your host, David Gravelle. I'm a life insurance strategist, business legacy coach, and founder of Legacy Protectors. Each episode, I sit down with the bold thinkers, entrepreneurs, and everyday visionaries who are turning their values into lasting impact in business, in life, and across generations. On today's show, we welcome Alan Arazi. With over 35 years in sales and 8 years in the payroll industry, with 2.5 years with his current company, QTS Payroll. They provide services for business owners of all sizes in all 50 states to help them keep their business compliant, to prevent their business owners from getting fines or penalties, as well as to automate those manual processes that bog down the productivity of business owners, allowing them to focus on what matters most. With the maze and complexities of constant changes taking place between state compliance and regulations, mandates, all business owners should not attempt to take on these diverse tasks and allow outsourcing wherever possible. QTS makes the implementation process seamless, easy, and affordable. They also offer top-notch customer service and never treat you like a number. Well, hello, Alan, and welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, David? Nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's beautiful here in Oklahoma City. I'm just enjoying some nice weather. Tell our audience where you're calling in from.
In Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada.
All right. Okay.
Nice and hot.
Yeah. All right. So your company is QTS Payroll.
Correct.
And so why don't you tell us a bit about that company? How was it founded? What kind of company is it?
Absolutely. So QTS Payroll stands for what we stand for, quality, technology, and service. So it's QTS Payroll. I can't believe this, but already next year, 2026, will be around for 30 years. We are a payroll company that processes in all 50 states and work with businesses from one employee and above. And we handle everything associated with payroll. When I say everything, I mean hourly salary, 1099, W-2s, quarterly tax filings, unemployment insurance, absolutely everything. And our big differentiator between us and the bigger companies is the customer service.
Okay, so that means we're going to assume that that's probably the first level, right? It's like a personal relationship with you. So why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? What's been your career path and how did you end up here at QTS?
Absolutely. So I have been in sales my entire career, so over 35 years. I have been in the payroll space for 8 years, but I've been with this company for almost 2.5 years. And the reason I chose payroll, every sales job I've ever had, I've only sold things that I believe in and that I know helps people. And I don't know of an employer out there that doesn't need payroll, that has employees. And I don't think that many employers are aware. They're experts in their field and what they do, but I don't know if they realize the depths of the amount of compliance, regulations, mandates that are applicable to their state. And if they have locations in other states, I don't know if they realize the depth that it goes into how much compliance they're supposed to maintain.
And so that you consider to be part of your job, right? It would be educating your clients on what it is they need to be, aware of as far as it is compliance, and then helping them be compliant, right?
Absolutely. And the most important thing is the majority of the business owners that I talk to, David, they're working on razor thin margins. And so if they were, the government, I feel, always has a big magnifying glass on their business, and they're itching for them to mess up, because when they mess up, I don't need to tell you, but it adds up to fines, and that's how the government makes their money. And most of these businesses, even a small fine can really affect their bottom line, their profits, and God forbid, close their doors. And that's what we're here to do, is prevent them from getting fined, have them stay in compliance, and not have to worry about, oh my goodness, did I pay this employee correctly? Am I maintaining state compliance? Will this regulation affect me? They just need to concentrate on running their business and doing what they do best.
Yeah, so it sounds like, for your clients, you're the face of the organization. You're their first point of contact. You're meeting with them regularly to talk
Absolutely.
about changes, potential, onboarding and processing. Is that all? That's kind of accurate, right?
100%. And what's really nice about the service that we offer is we process in all 50 states. So yes, we are headquartered in Nevada, but we process in all 50 states. And to your listeners, I'm sure any business owner that's in New York, California, Illinois, Pennsylvania will tell you they're not easy states to process in. We will process in all 50 states, including Puerto Rico and Hawaii. So,
okay. So
we can take care of everything.
That's quite a range. How do you maintain that quality service across such a diverse client base?
I would have to say we really listen to the client when we set them up. We, take the time to listen to how they're going to have their business set up, what's important to them, what's not important to them. And we have dedicated reps that are just for the conversion team. We have dedicated reps that will just do the training on our software, which is a proprietary software, very easy to use. We have dedicated reps just on our tax department. So we're listening how they want it set up, and then we're ensuring that it's set up the way they want it and adhering to compliance of their state.
Yeah, and I love that model because that's how I go to market and how I like to do business. Is you're working with specialists for each part of the integration process, and you have a dedicated specialist for each one of those roles. So you're not wearing all the hats over there. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the timing for a business owner, and what are some of the considerations that they should have for outsourcing their payroll? When do they know it's the right time?
So one thing I'd like to bring up that's a misconception is everybody feels that transitioning to payroll providers is very difficult, and it is. But with us, we've made it very simple. It's basically 7 or 8 attachments that I send. Once they're filled out and forwarded back to me, the shell of their business is set up. And then just depending on the time of year, excluding January 1st, the only information we really need is their year-to-dates. So once we have those 7 or 8 attachments back, coupled with year-to-date, they're set to go. They just tell us when they want to start. The good thing is we don't need year-to-date for 1/1 or January 1st processings. So it really doesn't have to be confusing. It doesn't have to take long. And it all comes down to, we work with companies from 1 employee and above. Obviously, the bigger ones take a little bit longer, but we have made the process seamless and painless. And it does take a little bit longer for the larger businesses, but the smaller businesses, we can get up and running very quickly.
Okay. And part of my audience are solopreneurs who are growing their business. We're trying to support them every day, and they may be hiring some of their first employees. So, what changes in their world? What are some of the complexities that maybe they're not anticipating that make professional payroll services so valuable to them?
So, one of the things what we constantly see on I would say cycle is a lot of these businesses are hiring, onboarding, training, and then it just repeats. And it costs businesses a lot of money. And when that cycle happens, the hiring, the onboarding, the training, and then repeat, and it's every 6 months, especially on, the hourly low paying jobs, the high turnover jobs, and so forth. I tell the business owners, you want to strategically be very smart when you're doing your job postings. I think that's more important than anything else. Maximize in your posting everything that you're offering, because I always tell them, take off your business owner hat and put on your applicant hat. And I always give this example. A $15 an hour job versus a $15 an hour job with benefits, I promise you the candidate's going to go to the one with the $15 an hour plus benefits. You have my word. Yeah. Now, if you're also offering 401k, $15 an hour, $15 an hour plus benefits, or $15 an hour plus benefits and 401k, I promise you they're going to go with the latter. So just be smart and know that as a business owner, when you're doing a posting, list everything that the position is offering. So if it's offering benefits, make sure it's offering benefits. If offering benefits is something down the line that you're open to, say, we'll be open to offering benefits down the line.
Okay. So let's say a business owner, wants to have that first conversation with someone like you or yourself and hasn't done this before. What kind of documentation or information should they have ready before that first conversation, just to kind of help that meeting, be as productive as possible?
That's the nice thing, David, is there's not really any per se documentation that we need. They just need to know things like the type of demographic they're targeting. So I'll give you an example. If they're targeting, I'm going to use an example, fast food restaurant, teenage, first job, what to expect. Probably going to be high turnover. If it's going to be, an engineering firm that's hiring mid 40s, mid 50s, high salary, it's going to be a different conversation. There's not necessarily paperwork. It's just a conversation of how do you want payroll set up? What's important, how often, and those are the types of things that we would find out.
Okay. And so I'm assuming that some of these owners are going to, arrive to these meetings having done their payroll for a while themselves. Do you do some type of compliance health check for them, or how do you ensure that what they've done in the past, is still part of the business offering that you could help them with?
That's a really great question, David. One of the things that I do have to bring up to them is if they've had issues in the past where they've worked with a past payroll provider and the payroll provider didn't pay taxes or something like that, we cannot fix that and pay and then continue. We only work with moving forward. We're going to be your payroll provider, and we're going to promise you that what didn't get paid in the past will get paid in the future. But
Sure.
if they have like a past
Balance
something
or
like
outstanding,
right, there's nothing we can do with that.
You can identify that, right? You're going to be able to help them find that.
It.
Yeah, you'll find those gaps
but we,
for them.
not having been the original payroll provider, there's nothing we can do.
Sure. So you're able to just kind of, find out what has gone on in the past that may need to be exposed to the business owner, give them a plan of action, hopefully to help them, become compliant, and then, give them that roadmap moving forward where you'll be able to keep them on track.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the best practices. And obviously, price is going to be an important factor in this. What might be worth paying for? Like, how do they kind of determine, as a CEO, as an owner myself, I know my highest value activities are not doing payroll. So, there's got to be an ROI there. How do you help them determine, what's justifiable and what their return is?
Absolutely. David, I have a question for you. Are you familiar with the saying, time is money?
Yes.
Okay. So I think everybody is. And if we can save you time by automating your manual processes, that is an invaluable service that we offer. And we've made the proprietary software very easy to use, where, when you do onboarding, if you decide to utilize our automated onboarding, just as an example, it's literally a picture of a bust with a plus in it. And you click on it, and then you identify the candidate as a W-2 or 1099, and then it just walks you through the process. And then once that's done building the demographic, then it goes into payroll, and payroll only has about 5 or 6 steps. So it's the same thing. It just walks you through. So it makes it very, very simple, very seamless, very painless. Once that's set up, then when you're processing with us regularly, it's just uploading the hours. So we make it very simple. And the larger companies, they take a little bit more time because there's more information to load.
Sure.
Obviously.
Okay. Yeah. And so during that implementation, what are some of the things that they can completely hand off to you? And what are the things that, they have to get done themselves? So
what I find them having the most difficulty finding, 100 times out of 100, they have a difficult time finding their unemployment insurance account number and rate. So if they have like a bookkeeper, CPA, or accountant that they're working with, they have easy access to that. They can give that to us. We just need to know the account number and rate for unemployment insurance. We need, like, for the year to dates, they have difficulty finding it. Their CPA, accountant, or bookkeeper can provide that for us right away. So if they can provide that to us when they give us the 7 or 8 documents back that we need, it'll only expedite them in them getting set up.
Okay, so you said the magic word there, bookkeeper and CPA. So let's talk a bit about those types of service providers. How do you work with them, and why would that be a good fit for a business owner wanted to have both you and them involved?
So we were actually founded by a number of CPAs who needed a service-oriented payroll company at the time, and we actually outsourced to a number of CPAs, accountants, and bookkeepers for the reason that they hate doing payroll. It's time consuming, especially when you have businesses that have crazy compliances like California, New York, I mentioned in the past, Illinois, Pennsylvania. So they don't want to do it. So they utilize our service as a value added service. So the way the conversation goes is, I'm still your CPA, I'm still your accountant, I'm still your bookkeeper. We just outsource payroll to this company. So we're able to handle the unemployment insurance on behalf of the client. We're able to handle the quarterly tax filings. We're able to handle the processing. They can do it once a week, once a month, quarterly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly. So we can set up all of that.
Okay, so that sounds like a relationship that kind of, ensures that you've got two sets of eyes on this, and, can ensure that it runs smoother than just having like a single point of failure, or, kind of bog down the CPA or the bookkeeper at the payroll time where they have other responsibilities to the business that they might be neglecting.
Absolutely. And what they really like, aside from our customer service, and I am happy to share testimonials with you from current CPAs, accountants, and bookkeepers that are utilizing us, but what they really like the most is they're utilizing us as a value-added service, but we provide them complete access to reporting and our analytics. So it's almost as a feel for them as, I don't want to say that they're running payroll, but they have eyes on everything.
That's right. I mean, yeah, they want to, that's it. They want that control without having to do the work, right? They want to just kind of check over what you've done, integrate it into what they're doing for the business owner, and deliver that product that probably a little bit better than just them doing it themselves.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a bit about the employees of those companies. What kind of experience is it for them? Is there any self-service capabilities, or how do the employees interact with you?
That's a great question. So I would say the most popular feature that we have is being able to clock in and out from your phone.
Okay.
That's probably our number one feature. And for its employee and employer is we can also do geofencing. Why that's important is it prevents buddy punching. So I can't say, hey, David, I'm at the coffee shop across the street, punch in for me and I'll be there in 5 minutes. Right. We can actually set a geofencing parameter and make sure that buddy punching doesn't occur.
Yeah, and that's real important for some of my clients who are in the construction industry, might have remote employees that are, start their day out on a service call, let's say HVAC, or, I have one particular company that does, construction services around the state and a neighboring state. So I think that would be a very valuable service. Remind me at the end of this to get you their information. Okay.
So, David, I do want to mention one thing, if you don't mind. You mentioned construction. We work with every vertical, but I like to mention construction specifically because Nevada is a huge construction state. We handle everything when it comes to construction. So I just want to make your listeners aware. When I say everything, I mean prevailing wage, certified payroll, union payroll, job costing, piece rate. We take all of that. We set it up how they want, and then we take all of that off of their plate.
Okay.
So that's really important for the construction companies to know.
Okay, great. That's great information. And let's talk about as their needs change. How are you able to help organizations that are growing rapidly, or acquisitions? How can they work with you in those times when things are, changing? Right.
I'm going to use one word: communication. They just need to let us know. We want to evolve with them. We want to grow with them. But they just need to communicate with us. If they communicate with us, we're going to grow with them. and expand with them. And one point I do want to make is because of our customer service aspect, and again, I do have testimonials to back this up. When people change payroll providers, David, I told you I've been doing this for about 8 years. I'm with this company 2.5 years. They typically change every 3 to 5 years. Our average tenure that people stay on with us is 10 to 12 years. We next year are going to be around 30 years. So we started in 96. We have a client from 97 and from 99 that are still with us.
Yeah, great. Yeah. That just speaks to the longevity of those relationships and how deep they are. Okay.
And I think it has everything to do with customer service.
Yeah, and I would believe it too, because that's, me, both as a business owner and a provider, I know how important it is on both ends of that relationship. So tell us a bit about what happens at year end or tax season when things are, high stress, high demand. What are those periods like?
Absolutely. It's really funny that you mentioned that because we actually get inundated with calls, especially with the 1, 2, 3 employee businesses. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want the headache. They just call us, hey, can you take care of it? Absolutely. We'll issue the year-end W-2s, the year-end 1099s. We understand that they're stressed. And I think a lot of these businesses have the hurry up and wait attitude. And what I mean by that is they want it done quickly. But then if I don't have the paperwork in, you're unable
to do it. Right.
I'm at their discretion. So, they just have to understand that we'll move as quickly as we can move as long as they're providing us the information that we need to get them set up.
Right. So let's deliver that message loud and clear to our owners is that, there is still an onus on them to get the information needed to do this. You've got a good partner here in Alan and his group. So let's talk finally about some advice you could give, maybe 3 things that they should be, continually doing or avoiding. Do you have any pieces of advice that they could take away from this conversation today and maybe remember as they're thinking about this?
So number 1 is if you're a business owner that's not outsourcing, and not just for payroll, for anything outside of your comfort zone. Okay, so HR, payroll, benefits. If you're not outsourcing, I cannot suggest, I cannot recommend, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of outsourcing payroll to experts. The reason I say that is you are the backbone of the economy. You've worked so hard to build your business. You're the experts in what you do. Do what you do with the passion that you do it. Do what you do with the love that you do. But don't take on your state. I promise you, your state will win every time. And you want to stay away from the fines because you're working hard for your P&L to have more P than L on it. Right. You're working hard for the ROI to show a high return on investment, and you don't want to get those fines. So outsource if you're not outsourcing. The other thing is, I would say, work with trusted partners like QTS for payroll. Part of the reason why we're more reasonable than the larger companies is we're not 10,000 employees. We don't have an office in every location. So the CEO said, because we don't have the overhead of those bigger companies, we're able to be more reasonably priced. And on the third point, I would say customer service is important. So there are softwares out there that are, I don't want to say do it yourself, but they are softwares out there that it's sink or swim. You got to figure it out on your own.
Sure.
When you have a question, I did this. I hope I did it right.
Right. And you're calling an 800 number and you're in a queue talking to someone who doesn't know you, and you have to start at 0 each time to tell them who you are and get their attention. And I've been through that, and that's no fun. Right.
Absolutely. And so work with a trusted partner and work with a partner that is able to assist you.
Okay, and so they can expect somewhere around the 20 to 40% savings over major competitors. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say I'm more realistic. I'd say like 15 to 20%, but it can be 20 to 40. It really all depends on a number of aspects. It depends on. We're not just payroll. We also do compliance. We do HR. So depending on how loaded their package is, if you will, it can be 15 to 20, 20 to 40, just depending on, how many employees, how many, right. And to mention one thing really quick, we do just the gamut of clients that we service, restaurants, I did a summer camp, nonprofits. There is really not a vertical that we have not worked with.
Okay, great. So tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you. We'll have it in the description, but where should they go to learn more and get started?
Thank you. So our website is, again, QTS stands for Quality Technology and Service. So QTSPayroll.com. My name is Alan, A-L-A-N. So to reach me, it would be A-L-A-N dot, my last name, A-R-A-Z-I, at QTS Payroll. And my phone number directly is 702-829-2369. One of the things I like to do when I meet with the business owners is oftentimes I will have the CEO join the call as well. It'll be like a Teams call if they're outside of Nevada, or if they're in Nevada in my area, I'll have them come to the office. And I think meeting the CEO, who happened to be the developer of the technology, really, really builds a huge value.
Right. I have a
because
pipeline
then you're not
to the
just
head
dealing
office.
with me.
Yeah,
you're dealing with the main,
right to the C-suite. Right. Yeah.
the head
that means
honcho.
something. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, Alan, thanks again for coming on today. We really appreciate your time. Thanks for sharing some of that information with us to help our audience get prepared to talk to people like you and to consider outsourcing their payroll for the right reasons and in the right way.
I appreciate you, David. Thank you for your time, and thank you to your listeners.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Alan.
Take care.
Thank you to our listeners and audience for spending time with us today on Legacy Curious. I hope this conversation gave you some insight, encouragement, or just that little spark you needed to keep you moving forward in your own legacy journey. If you got value from today's episode, please take a second to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone else who's building something that matters. And if you're ready to take that next step, protecting your business, planning for retirement, or passing on your legacy with purpose, head to legacyprotectors.life to schedule a conversation. Until next time, I'm your host, David Gravelle, reminding you to stay curious, stay committed, and keep building something worth passing on.